In this video, I'm gonna go into full detail explaining everything you need to know about the new dunk meter in NBA 2K22. Now, I'm gonna try to be as informative and as detailed as possible while still being somewhat concise and not taking up too much of your time. So without further ado, let's get into this new dunk meter. All right, so in NBA 2K22, there's a new feature you can do called an aggressive dunk meter. Now, this feature is exclusive to next gen. So if you have a current gen system and you're wondering why you haven't seen this new meter, that's why. Now, in order to perform this move, it's basically the same way we would do a flashy dunk in previous years. So you'd simply hold R2, move your left stick towards the basket, and then finally hold the right stick down. Now, this year, by doing that, this new dunk meter will briefly pop up. Now, this green area here, you can think of it as almost like a green window. So as you progress with your dunk animation, the meter will quickly fill up, and the goal is to get the meter to land somewhere in the green window. Now, if I zoom in, you can see that there's a small white notch in the middle of that window. If you can get the meter to stop at that exact point, you'll get an excellent release on that particular dunk attempt. If you manage to get it in that green window, but before the white notch, you'll get an early release. And of course, if you manage to get it in that green window, but after the white notch, you'll get a late release. But as long as you're able to get it somewhere in that green window, you should be pretty good. Now, let's say you let go of the right stick a little too early and the meter stops before it hits that green window. If that happens, you'll get a very early release. And of course, vice versa, if you hold the right stick for too long and it goes past that green window, you'll get a very late release. Now, during my brief testing, as long as I was able to stop the meter somewhere in that green window, whether it was a little bit before or after that white notch, I was able to make the dunk for the most part. However, every time I stopped the meter outside of that green window, it was pretty much an automatic miss. So although you obviously want to shoot for that little white notch so you can get that excellent release, make sure at the very least you're getting it somewhere in that green window if you even want a chance of making that dunk. Now, just like the shot meter, the size of the green window inside of this new dunk meter varies on a few different things. The first, as you can expect, is the difficulty you're playing on. So for example, here's the green window when playing on Rookie versus the green window when playing on Hall of Fame. So of course, on easier difficulties, it'll be easier to time, and on harder difficulties, it'll be harder to time. Pretty straightforward. The size of the green window also varies depending on the player you're using. So the same way shooting with Steph Curry gives you a much bigger window than shooting with someone like Shaq does, the new dunk meter works the same way. So for example, if I try to do an aggressive skill dunk with someone like Zion, his green window is going to be a lot bigger than someone like Steph's. That's because Zion is one of the best dunkers in the game, and of course, Steph Curry isn't. Now, after seeing this, I wanted to do some more testing. I wanted to see what's the lowest dunk rating a player can have while still being able to perform an aggressive skill dunk with this new dunk meter. So I started off with someone who never dunks the ball, someone like Ricky Rubio. Rubio has a 25 driving dunk rating. No matter what buttons I pressed, I wasn't able to perform an aggressive skill dunk. This is something that 2K themselves acknowledged in the control section of the game. So I moved up from someone with a 30 dunk rating and wasn't given the option, and I even tried Stephon Marbury, who has a 35 dunk rating, and still couldn't perform one of these dunks. Now, Steph Curry was able to perform one of these dunks with a 36 driving dunk rating, and so was his brother Seth. I even tried it with the G League player who had a 36 driving dunk rating, and I was successful in performing one of these dunks. So although it's not officially confirmed by 2K themselves, it seems like in order to perform an aggressive skill dunk, your driving dunk needs to be a minimum of 36, or your standing dunk needs to be at least a 40. Anything lower than that, and you'll only get layup animations. You also want to make sure you have a decent amount of stamina before trying one of these dunks. Here you can see I'm blinking red with LeBron, and every time I try to go up for one of those aggressive skill dunks, I get a layup animation. Now, obviously that's not because LeBron's driving dunk rating isn't high enough, it's because I used all of my stamina prior to trying one of these dunks, and now I'm given a layup animation. So make sure you're not dead tired before trying this on a fast break. Although this applies to finishing in general and not just the new aggressive skill dunks, you want to make sure you're trying these when there isn't a ton of traffic in the paint. If there are a ton of bodies in the paint, not only does this decrease the size of the green window on your dunk meter, but you may not even get the option since it'll be too contested. So definitely be mindful of that. Now, this entire video, I've been talking about activating this new meter by holding R2 and holding the right stick down, but this is also activated another way, and that's alley-oops. Now, as you can see, the green window is much larger on alley-oop attempts as opposed to standalone breakaway dunks. The white notch also appears a lot sooner in the green window. So while it may be easier to successfully perform an aggressive skill dunk in the form of an alley-oop at least, it was also a little harder for me to get an excellent release. Now, although the size of the green window on alley-oop attempts is much bigger, the same rules still apply. So if you let go too early or too late, your player will either miss the dunk or they might not even catch it at all. So keep that in mind. Now, I know there may be people out there that might not be the biggest fan of this new dunk meter and they want to know how to turn it off, similar to the shot meter. Well, by default, the shot meter is activated on all jump shots. Whereas if you remember from earlier, this new aggressive skill dunk meter is only activated when holding both R2 and the right stick and when performing alley-oops. As long as you're not doing either of those two things, the dunk meter will not activate. So for example, instead of holding the right stick down, if I were to hold it up to do a two-handed dunk, you can see that the dunk meter doesn't activate. Same if I were to hold it to the left to do a left-handed dunk or hold it to the right to do a right-handed dunk. In fact, you can actually just hold square like normal and dunk without the dunk meter activating. So again, as long as you're not performing a flashy dunk or an alley-oop, you won't have to worry about timing any of your dunk attempts. Now, me personally, I think it's a good addition to the game, especially for things like alley-oops. In the past, I always felt like lobs were not only overused, but in the right hands, they were also pretty overpowered, especially because all you really had to do was simply press a button and it was pretty much an automatic 2 points 9 times out of 10. But since they've added this new dunk meter, even though it's not insanely difficult to master, unlike the shot aiming mechanic last year, it requires you to do more than just simply press a button, which again, I think allows for a slightly higher skills gap, and that could help introduce more interesting gameplay. I also like the fact that it's not necessarily mandatory for regular dunks. So for the people out there that might not love this new system, they can still make their slashers and be effective by just pressing square instead of using the right stick. But that's just my opinion. I want to hear yours in the comment section below. Do you think this new dunk meter adds anything gameplay wise, or do you just simply not like it? Also, if you guys want me to make a video going over the new shot meter as well, let me know down below. Hopefully this video was able to help you better understand the dunk meter and the new aggressive skill dunk system. If this video did help you out, make sure to leave a like on the video and also subscribe and turn on post notifications to know exactly when the next video is uploaded. All right, I'm out.